The detailed ingredients will be in the description box below, so go ahead and go out and get those ingredients. Now we're going to be using a combination of spices and herbs that's going to make these air fryer pork chops absolutely irresistible. And you know, these flavor combinations are going to be absolutely a pairing, a match made in heaven. Right now we're going to get all these bad boys in this bowl, and then once we do, we're just going to give it a mix. Right, got to get these ingredients all mixed up. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and tell you and share with you, that smoked paprika is going to give you a nice color, so it's going to do the trick for these air fried pork chops. That's the secret ingredient right there. Now we're going to get these bad boys seasoned up, so we're going to hit it with a little Salt Bae. And we're going to season these pork chops front and back. So you want to make sure that you season these well, because you want that flavor, right? Anything that you're cooking, with your meats, man, you got to make sure that you season it well. Now you also want to save, a little bit of that seasoning, because you also got to season that flour, right? Now, look at that right there. We're going to take you down to it. So you want to rub this seasoning in so it can kind of bind on these pork chops. And then after you do that, you in the game. So we got our flour, we got our cornstarch mixture, and then we're going to add the rest of those seasonings in there. Like I said, you got to season your flour, right? And then, best practice is to taste your flour. However your flour tastes, that's how your meat's going to taste. All right, so we're going to take these pork chops, and then we're going to get them coated in, that flour mixture, right? So front and back, you want to get a light coating on it, and then press down on those pork chops so that flour and that cornstarch can adhere to that pork chop. Right now we're going to set this on the cooling rack, that wire rack, and then we're going to let these bad boys chill out just for a little bit. Right now, I always got to shake that bad boy off, right? All right, so now we're going to put this on that cooling rack, let that bad boy sit off, and then we're going to let that that flour penetrate that meat, and then we're going to go back to it. So we're going to follow the same steps, right? And then we're just going to repeat this for all the pork chops. And like I said, we're just going to let those bad boys chill out for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and revisit them. Just a thin coat, right? All right, so now as you see right here, pork chops are going to sit there and they're going to rest. Now what we're going to do is, like I said, we got to revisit them. We're going to come back and we're going to hit it with just a tad more of that flour mixture, and then like I said, we're just hitting some of those bald spots as it sits and rests, right? So as you can see here, that flour has penetrated that pork chop, but now we're trying to build a crust on those pork chops, so we're going back with a thin layer, another thin layer of that flour mixture, and then we're going to let this rest just for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and then get these pork chops ready to go in the air fryer. And then you just got to trust the process, man. All right, so next thing I got, the Power XL air fryer comes with a mesh grate. Now you want to make sure that you spray your grates very well with that cooking spray, right, so it doesn't stick. Now before we put it in the air fryer, we're going to also lightly spray these pork chops, and this is going to assist in getting that golden brown outside crust, right? So we're just trying to mimic the deep frying process. Now you're not going to be drowning in the oil, just a light light mist of it. Now we're going in with the air fryer. Like I said, I got that Power XL, and then I'm just cooking 2 at a time because these pork chops are on the larger side. And then we're going to take this for 400 degrees for 20 minutes, right? And then power editing halfway through, 10 minutes, we're going to take a look at them. Look at those right there. Now it looks like they're coming out pretty good, so we're going to bring them out so you can see them. They're not done yet, right? So we got to do a couple different things, right? So now when you see these pork chops, you might see some dry spots, so you'll take your cooking spray, lightly mist it. Don't drown it, lightly mist it, and then you're going to flip it on the other side. So here's the key right here. As you can see, that's why I said spray your grates well so it doesn't stick, right? All right, Now we got the second one. We're gonna do the same steps, right? And then just take it the rest of the way for the remaining other 10 minutes. As you can see right there, it's a little bit dry on that side. So like I said, just a little bit of spray, cooking spray would do it. Now we're gonna place these bad boys back in, and then, oh, they ready to come out. So here's the moment of truth. Gonna pop that top, right? Here we go. Them bad boys steaming hot too. Look at that right there. Nice and golden brown. So now you want to make sure that you let these bad boys rest too, because they're going to continue to cook, you know, because like I said, they piping hot. But look at that right there. That is a nice color on those pork chops. And I'm going to tell you, man, those are probably the best looking pork chops on YouTube right there. Look at that. You all right, so you got your air fried pork chops, and those bad boys are golden brown. Let's take a look at them real quick. Now, you see those bad boys. Now you already know what we got to do. We got to give these bad boys a taste test, right? So instead of cutting this bad boy up, man, I'm just going to take a bite out of this bad boy, right? Now, normally, you know, we'll cut these bad boys up, but look at that right there. That bad boy is delicious. That's absolutely delicious, guys. Now that flavor was amazing, tender. You in the game.